Well, hey everybody, welcome to the Crystal Crawford Show. I'm Crystal Crawford, in case you didn't figure that out already. I'm an Access Consciousness Certified Facilitator for those of you that are new to me. And this show is all about taking, generally speaking, most weeks, is about taking a topic around which you may or may not have a lot of ease and riffing on it or with Access Consciousness tools. But today is special. These little people over here, little. And I'm going to bring them on bigger in just a second. But these two ladies are some of my favorite people. They live in Saskatchewan and they have taken multiple classes with me, including a couple of or five foundation. I don't know if it was two or five foundation classes. So the topic of today's show is I got my money's worth in 5 minutes. And this actually got created out of a conversation with Leanne in a team meeting where she just blurted it out. She's like, I got my money's worth out of foundation in 5 minutes. And I was like, what? We need to talk about this. And then she mentioned Tanya. And so, hi, ladies.
Hello.
Hello.
So just so everybody kind of has a sense of who you are, and like, you guys you're not certified facilitators, like you use the tools, your bars facilitate, but you have so many other interesting things about you. Could you each take like, I don't know, 20 seconds and just tell us a little bit about you?
Go ahead.
You go ahead.
Hi, I'm Leanne. I am a teacher and jack of all trades. I kind of like a whole bunch of different things, and Access, just playing with the tools and choosing more. The target is to become a certified facilitator at some point, as soon as I get everything together. And work with you and kind of in the back end. And so it's just like, taking a few foundations and looking forward to the next one.
Yeah. Tanya, what are you up to these days? Your life is tell me everything.
Well, I'm currently COVIDly unemployed.
I heard that you created more money during this time than any other time.
I did. It was very strange. I made enough money to take an ESB class that I've been wanting to take forever, so that was really fun.
Yeah.
I'm a waitress and a bars facilitator, and I love being outside in my garden.
Mm-hmm. Your garden is looking so good.
I've been
like creeping your garden on Facebook.
Yes.
I'm considering tearing out all the grass we're in a rental house right now, and I'm considering replacing the grass with functional plants.
Yeah. I think that's fun.
So Leanne, what your first foundation with me was, I don't even know, a couple of years ago?
3 years ago?
Yeah. And you didn't get anything out of it?
No, nothing out of it. I just really remember like starting the class and you read the first paragraph and I was like, well, I just got my money's worth. It was like,
no, wait, now how much does the class cost?
Yeah, $1,700.
So what you're saying is in the first 5 minutes, you got $1,700 worth of change?
Yeah. It was just like, I remember the topic around like, how much energy are you using to like fit in and be normal? And I was like, oh my God. It just like pretty much described my whole life. So I was like, wow, okay. And then it just got better after that. But I mean, seriously, just some of the first things, like in the first 5 minutes, I was like, well, then I got what I needed to hear. Like, seriously.
So I don't know if you can articulate this, and especially since you've taken a bunch of classes since then, but do you remember like what maybe the biggest change for you after your first one? Do you remember the sense of that?
For me, I would say like I was very black and white and very like really super uptight about everything. Like I was just like, I don't even know how to describe it. Like, I mean, I was very rigid in my thinking and and so it was just like, it just changed like my points of view around everything, like parenting and just like everything. And it just gets better each time. Like every class I take and every foundation I take, it just kind of like shaves off different layers of maybe places where I don't even know that I'm functioning from, that get me closer to like really me and what I want to create and those kinds of things. So
Yeah.
I don't know.
You go.
It's just like, yeah, I mean, I'm still starting to like realize like how aware I am and how like there's the capacities that I have like that I've buried, and like it's just so interesting. That's my catchphrase. She's like, when you stop saying that.
You do say that all. So Tanya, do you remember your first foundation wasn't with me, was it?
No,
Yeah.
it was with Andrea Asowski.
Yeah.
And it was after the first day. I just went home and I'm like, well, I got my money's worth. I'm like, I'd pay double for this class, like easily, And then it was so weird. Another thing I noticed too, I was just telling Leanne, I said it was like during the class, like every time I went to the bathroom, I'd look in the mirror and I was just like younger every time. And I was like, what is happening? I'm like, this is great. Like, I'll take classes like forever. Just keep getting younger every time.
Yeah, you guys get exponentially happier with every access class that you take. I like call you again and you're just like happier. So
Yeah.
So have either one of you done a foundation online yet?
No.
Okay, well I'll save that question for somebody else who has to know.
Yeah.
Because we're doing online foundations right now, which is different because foundation actually has a lot of body work in it, and that's probably one of the questions I get the most is how do we handle the body work? But I'll talk about that on a different video. Okay.
So we together.
Oh yeah.
And so we've done an online class, and it was epic. Like I don't even have words. So I'm not stressed or worried about the online piece at all.
We're still trying to figure out what happened.
I took that same class too. I took the ESB and I was like, I think I've taken 8 ESBs. And that one with Dane was like, it was the best ESB I'd ever taken. And it was so much change. Like you could feel the change, but you couldn't articulate what it was. And for me, like that's what I find about any access class, and especially foundation, because foundation goes through so many different foundational life things, and just shakes them all up. It just like shakes all of it up, breaks it apart. And you could sort of tell somebody what you covered, kind of ish, not really. But the thing that I notice out of every access class, and even facilitating foundation or whatever, is just the blanket amount of change. Like you are just different after. Like you're foundationally and functionally different.
Yeah, and it's like there's no way to actually describe it. Like there's no words for it because like it takes me a while to even figure out, shouldn't try to figure it out, but it's like what actually happened there, but something happened.
So did it take you guys a long time to choose to take a foundation? Like I know for my friend Liga, which hopefully I'll get her on here too, it took her 5 years. She was like, well, why would I need to take that class? I already know all the tools. How long did it take you guys to choose one?
No, I think it took me a year. Like I think right after I became a BF, I was just like, that's it. Like I just want more all the time. Like it's like, oh, what class can I have now? And so that was the next one. So I was. Did you
have any money things come up around it? Like I can't.
No.
Cool.
No.
Yeah, I did.
No, I didn't care. Like I was having it.
Yeah.
And then after the first day, and I was just like, wow, like that was so worth the money. Like do you remember
have any sense of who you were before? And like, is there a pre-foundation Tanya and a post-foundation Tanya? Like,
oh, absolutely. I just can't really. I think I just became way more into myself. Like just became like, I think I really started actually loving me more after foundation, because I got to actually see how great I am. And I didn't have those, I didn't really have that before. I mean, taking bars and all that helps with it, but foundation was kind of like the big boom, here you are.
Mm.
Yeah.
I remember one thing, like because I was in this like abusive, abusive, like narcissist kind of
Yes.
situation previous, and we've both had those kinds of experiences where I'd been out of it for so long, but then still somewhat functioning from just points of view, like almost like how I was trained to be with this person, you know what I mean? Like I wasn't allowed to look at guys, I wasn't allowed to talk to men, like all these kinds of things, like these things that I didn't even realize I had was functioning from.
Yeah.
And then there was just instances where I would still function like that, but after foundation, it was gone. It was just like it was gone. And so then you all of a sudden you just notice those things and you're like, holy shit, like that used to be really.
Yeah, and then all of a sudden it's like you actually have a different choice now than you didn't before.
Yeah.
Yeah, because there's this thing.
Like, yeah.
No, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, it's like an epic thing, but it's one thing, and there's a million of them.
Yeah. I know. Well, I was just gonna say, like, there's this. I came from the camp of, you find an issue and then you go work on the issue and you root out the issue. It's like garden. You take it out by the root, and then you've got a clear life. Whereas what this does is literally like after you just don't do that anymore. Like you just can't function in the same way anymore. You're actually just functioning different. Like it's just gone.
Well, I remember saying to somebody too after my first foundation class, I said, like, I had 20 years of therapy before access, and I got more change in 4 days of foundation than in the 20 years of therapy before that.
Same.
Yeah, truly.
Like, and I'm not even kidding. I'm not even exaggerating. It's just like, wow.
Yeah.
I was seeing a professional literally 3 times a week just to keep me from killing myself. Like I was so emotionally like upset all the time, and everything set me off, and I didn't know how to handle it. And so we changed my diet and we changed my everything. I was on supplements, and I was seeing her 3 times a week, and she was working on my body, and I felt better. But then when I left her, it all started to come back because I didn't have the tools. I didn't have the right information. Nobody was telling me that I was aware, picking up things in 8,000 miles in every direction, and that if it was heavy, it probably wasn't mine. Like there was just key pieces of what ended up changing everything that were just not there. Not to mention like the removal of or the breaking up of the foundation on which I'd created my life to that point. And when I look at the points of view from which I'd created my life, there's so many, I can't even name them all, but like, I don't even know. Like money is hard. That was a huge one. I'm bad at relationships. That was a huge point of view. I'm bad at relationships. So I kept being bad at it and wondering why. And one of the first things you learn in Access Consciousness is your point of view creates your reality. So money's hard. I'm bad at relationships. I'm fundamentally flawed. And I knew that from when I was a kid. I'm like, there's something fundamentally just wrong with me. So I just have to deal with that as a fact and try to move forward fundamentally flawed. And God, I can't even tell you the number of things that in my very first class was like, you mean I'm not flawed, I'm just different? Like simple things like that changed the entire fabric of my life. Like nothing came after that.
Yeah. And I don't think that really you get that information anywhere else. I don't know. Anyway, it's just, I don't know how, you get some tools in a bars class, you know what I mean? And then like when you get to the foundation, then it just like amplifies it, and you really get to like,
and you can change it. Like it just changes like so fast. It was something I'd work on for months in therapy that we would like slowly inch by inch, like it's like pulling teeth trying to change that thing. And you'd ask one question, or it would take 5 minutes of facilitation and foundation class, and it's gone forever. Like
Christina just said taking the foundation class with you last year was one of the best decisions I made. It's hard to explain the change in words. You go, Christel.
Yeah.
For me, like, also, I mean, it was after my first foundation where I was like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, there's tools that can change things in milliseconds. I
Yes.
would not be a facilitator of this work for what fucking reason? Like, are you fucking kidding me? Do you know how many years and dollars and time and energy and tears I've cried trying to get to where we just went in 4 days? Fuck off. Sign me up. Like, seriously. That's why I became a facilitator so fast. I became a facilitator in 8 months because I'm like, get me there. Just get me there. Wherever I need to go to get to where I can bring these tools to the rest of the world, I'm in. You know?
Yes.
I'm not intense at all.
No.
But yeah, like that was what it was for me. I was like, just never mind. And so gosh, and you know, from that point on, you sort of learn what is going on. You know, that consciousness actually opens the door to all healing. Like when you're functioning from unconsciousness, you can't heal. When you bring consciousness in, your body can heal. Your being can actually heal. Everything gets lighter, easier, better, faster.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I love too that sometimes, you know, like when you're asking a question about something, you think it's a thing, you know, but then the facilitator will bring you to the thing it actually is. And like you've been trying to change it forever because you're not actually looking at the thing. So
the thing underneath the thing.
The thing underneath the thing. So when you finally look at
that, the thing isn't the thing if the thing doesn't change. If it hasn't been changing for 25 years and you keep looking at this thing, it's not that thing. It's another thing.
You know. And it's just great to have someone to be able to, you know, help you find a thing.
Yeah.
And then boom. And then it's changed.
And then it really is changed forever too.
Yes.
I think for me that continues to be the thing that still I'm so grateful for, because I so remember my very, very, very first bar session, and I wasn't into body work at all. Like I wasn't a body work person. I'm like, don't touch me, like unless you're gonna have sex with me and then go. Yeah. Like I had weird double standards with touching. But there was nobody else close. So I went. And she was a certified facilitator, and so she actually facilitated me while she was running my bars, which Gary tells you not to do, but I'm so glad she did because I was so fast and I had so many questions. And so I got off the table and we covered, you know, how ADD conversations are with people like us. So like we'd gone up here and over here and talked about money and sex and relationship. And like we'd gone all over the map. And I got off the table and I felt so different physically. But my big thing with almost everything I'd ever done is that things always reverted. I always went back home and I felt good for a day and then I was back in the same shit. And it was a huge thing. And so I really paid attention to that after, and I started to notice things were just different. They were just gone. It was like exactly what you said. It was like, they were just gone. I didn't need to effort. I didn't even need to like try not to. It was no behavior modification. It was just like stuff was gone. Now there was other areas of my life I needed to actively use the tools, and I know you guys pretty well, so I know that's true for you too. But thank God.
Yeah.
Yeah, and still unraveling. I mean, it's
yes. I don't know how people I really don't know how people function anymore without the tools. Like I don't know how I would function without them. Like I'm not sure I'd be here. Like honestly,
I would be here. I would have killed myself for sure.
Yeah. So, yeah.
And Leanne, I know because you and I talk more. I know you use these a lot with parenting, and Tanya, I know you do too. So, like, do you want to? How's that? Is parenting different, easier? Yes.
Well, there's there's certain things like my little 5-year-old. I mean. You know, points of view around sugar and things like that. And those are just gone for me now. And I just let him choose for his body. And,
wait, you know, what?
And yeah, exactly. And according to everybody else, like he's going to have diabetes by the time he's 8 and whatever, you know, and my oldest, I mean, there's lots of things like choices that he's making around drugs and alcohol and sex and school and all the things, and actually like giving him the space to choose. And it hasn't been easy. I mean, there was times when I've reached out to you because he was threatening suicide and stuff like that, and actually seeing it for what it was. And you, like, I mean, you just facilitated me a little bit around it. And then now I can recognize it, and so it's completely different. But allowing them to have choice, like it's just like they get to see what their choices create. And, like they try to blame me because I didn't, step in or whatever. And there's times when I revert back and control and whatever. It just doesn't really work all that well, but that's ever growing.
Yeah, but what I love about what I'm always at least inviting myself to, and what I hear like the tools invite us to, is that it's not about getting it right. There's no perfect thing. It's about like, okay, there's just choice, and we make choices all the time. And what if we could actually care about ourselves and care, be an allowance of, be care, no matter what we choose, no matter what they choose. Like that for me is like the ongoing adventure of consciousness. That
I remember like my youngest one, or my oldest one when he was little, and this is pre-access, it was so much control and power over, and I wouldn't let him be him. And it was just like, wow, like now, I'm it's an ongoing thing, but trying to allow them to just be who the hell they are.
Mm-hmm.
And they're brilliant. And yeah.
But I remember a big thing for you, and Tanya, I want to hear from you too. I remember a big thing for you, well, maybe one of them, and I'm going to say this badly probably, but like was what that meant about you as a mom. It's like you had to control that stuff because being a good mom meant da-da-da. And that changing for you has given you so much more freedom. I've watched it. Like you're not judging yourself as a good or a bad mom, at least not as much from what I can tell.
Yeah. It's like hashtag worst parent ever, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. Tanya, how does this show up for you and your kids?
Well, for me, I have so much more allowance than I used to, and just let them make the choices, to not go to school or to smoke or to do drugs or whatever, and just let them. Like, I don't agree with all of their choices. I think they could make better choices, but I'm just allowing. I mean, I know if I try and control it, it's just going to make it worse. Like they'll have to push back. And then, but it was really interesting because me and Leon, both our kids wouldn't go to school. Like they were skipping out so much. Like Sam missed like a month of school, and then they just didn't care. And I was like, okay, whatever, And then they closed the school.
They were like, and what were they aware of?
What were they aware of?
Like it's just like, they just didn't want to go.
Yeah. And it's really cool too, because I just have conversations with my kids, and I talk about the tools, and Sam lets me run his bars, and so it's like we have like some epic, very adult conversations sometimes. I mean, he's 15, but still, it's just, and there's so much ease. Like it's not weird. It doesn't get, it's just a lot of ease. And and it makes my life so much easier.
Yeah.
It's a lot of energy to try to control a person.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm new to the momming thing. Well, I did a lot when I was a kid with my siblings.
Right.
But yeah, like I have a new little one, and I did a post the other day that I think you guys read, but just about a moment where, because as we get closer, she's like testing everything. She's like, where's the what, Yeah. And I'm not like anybody else in her life. I don't respond in the same way, and I'm not trying to be like anybody else, and I am not trying to be on the same page as anybody else. I'm like, my demand is that I get to be me and you get to be you, and the way you choose to be with me affects me, and the way I choose to be with you affects you. So let's just call that what it is. And so that philosophy, that's basically what I'm functioning from. And so every once in a while that converges in a moment where she tries to manipulate it in the way that she can with everybody else, and it just doesn't work with me. And the gift of this past interaction was I saw that energy where she was just, that energy we all get, where we're like, like, fuck. And I was like, turn it up. Yeah. Because the thing that happened for me as a kid is all of that energy that I am, that I know you guys are, that intensity, that power, that potency got fucking squashed. And so I just suppressed it, and everybody else around me suppressed it. So I suppressed it. And I remember the access class, and there was probably more than one, but there was one in particular where Dane here, like I was on the table and he was doing a session with me, and he's like, just kill, be willing to explode. Just go. And so in that moment, like a couple days ago, I was like, explode, do it. And I was like, God, that one thing, I got to see what it did for her. And I was like, wow, if she continues to receive that, there will be no suppression. She will just get to be her, and it can show up the way it shows up. And then there's going to be people around her to facilitate something. But that there was just so much awareness in that one moment of what these tools have given me that I can now give to or pass on to another big being in a small body and show her what's possible. I was just like, I don't know. There's so many moments where I'm grateful. And that was just another one of like, fuck. I never would have had that without.
I read that post and I just was like crying, and like it was awesome. And I loved the way you handled that. Like I loved that whole thing, and I was like, wow, that's amazing.
Yeah.
And if we would have had those people in our lives to allow us to do that as kids, then as we're trying to do with our own kids now, it's not perfect, but it's just
Oh, I'm so grateful for you guys. Thanks for talking about this with me. And, we got to go because I have another live in another group. For all of you guys that are watching, if you aren't yet in the Awareness Challenge group on Facebook, it's free. I launch a new cheap 30-day challenge with one Access Consciousness tool every month. So you are more than welcome if you find this on YouTube in the future. The group's still around, so just search Christel Crawford's The Awareness Challenge. I'm going to go in there now. We're doing video number 3 at launching this new gratitude and money challenge, and it's to cultivate like the gratitude for you that allows money to show up. So anyway, Tanya, Leanne, you're some of my favorite people. Thank you so much for being. And guys, if you want to join us in the foundation, we have one coming up in June. It's online. If you have any questions, you can hit me up and ask me questions. You can ask these ladies questions. And to all of you. And for those of you guys watching, if you got anything out of this and you think other people should have it, if you'd share it, I'd be super grateful. I'll see you guys later.
Bye.